show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called Parry.
Peace. Welcome to another episode of the Parry, where we don't pull or duck no punches, and the Parry is fundamental to boxing. I am your host, Bomani UFG.
Say your public phone.
Come on, bro, I'm live right now, man.
You muted, Che.
I'm here. I'm the pragmatic Che Black. What's good with it?
And welcome to another episode of the Parry. Yo, what's good with you, Che Blicky?
Same fight, different round, man. We here, man.
Just want to remind everybody to please do us a favor. Just go ahead and jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Oh, and follow us on Instagram at the Parry 101, on Twitter at the Parry 101, and on TikTok at the Parry.101. And today we're here to talk about a family feud, man. In my opinion, one of the most authentic feuds in the sport of boxing. When I say authentic, I mean like it was some real heat behind it. Wasn't manufactured, wasn't something to just mainly promote the fight, but we talking about a generational rivalry and feud between Eubanks and the Benns. A rivalry that started with Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn when they fought for the middleweight title, I believe, in 1990. And now you got the sons fighting, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. And this rivalry seemed to be just as heated as, their father's rivalry, man. Actually, it seemed to be a little bit more heat in this rivalry than probably in their father's rivalry, man. Right. What you think, Che? Like, what you think about the whole history of this rivalry, the fathers, the sons? Like, I'm hyped for this fight, to be honest, man. I'm really looking forward to this, man.
Well, I mean, it definitely has a rich history as far as rivalry goes. I mean, their fathers was rivals and bitter rivals, and they seem to just have that same. I don't know if they just inherited it or if it's just, from actually meeting each other and realizing, you know what, just like your dad, I don't like you. You know what I mean? Like my dad ain't like you. So, I don't know if they, it doesn't seem like, at first I thought, it's cute. They selling tickets. You know what I mean? Because it's very, very reminiscent of the father and the son. Very, extremely reminiscent. It's almost like they went in the same playbook for the whole press conference, basically, But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the fight, and you know, I guess I saved my pick, or but I'm excited for the fight. But I'm gonna say this: Conor Benn he got his work cut out for him.
I mean, well, we'll get to that segment where we speak about who we think is going to win and why. But the heat, like it seemed like even in the father's rivalry, like the elder Eubank, like he kind of leaned into the role of playing the heel. You know what I mean? Like he leaned into that role of being the guy, the one who's disliked, the villain.
You think that was the
And
Eubank? You think Eubank is the one that played the heel?
Absolutely.
The original.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, at least, yes. I mean, because if you go back and look at the build up to the fight, or even just how he was received, Nigel Benn was more loved and respected. Maybe not respect. I don't want to say respect, maybe the wrong word, but he was definitely more loved and revered in Britain, in the UK at the time, over Eubanks. Like Eubanks would get booed, right? They thought he was a madman. He would dress like Planter's Peanut guy with the monocle on, and he was all like, super British and what they call, what some Jamaican people call stush. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, he was definitely the villain. He was definitely the villain out of the two. And I think the son is starting to lean into that role as well, even though he's trying to play like he's more of the upstanding or the hero, should I say, in the equation, by keep bringing up the fact that Conor Benn popped dirty for PEDs, which he was cleared for, right? But let me just play a clip from the first face-off and press conference for this particular fight.
Sky Sports box office in the UK and Ireland, Saturday, April 26th. It's Benn versus Eubank. The limit 160 pounds. The family feud goes on.
Oh, tempers flaring there.
I got that one wrong, didn't I? Sorry.
Now, when I first seen that, I thought he just straight up slapped him, but he slapped him with an egg. My man had a pocket full of eggs, man. And over here on this side of the world, man, eggs is expensive. I don't know about in the UK how many pounds cost for a dozen, but my man had like 3-4 eggs in his pocket. He came out with one egg and straight up egg slapped him. Yo.
Yeah, that was an egg slapping right there. I mean, I guess you could say he's playing into the heel. I just didn't see, going back to what you were saying, I didn't see his father really being the heel. I guess maybe it's because I wasn't too invested into either one of those fighters, and I couldn't help but look at, especially from the British point of view, but I couldn't help but just always see Nigel Benn as just a heel type of fighter. He had that classic, what's my man used to spit his mouthpiece on people back in the day, man. Oh man. Say, cool, you in there, man? Help me out with this one. What's my man used to spit his mouthpiece? Ayala Jr. Tony Ayala Jr. He got that same Tony Ayala Jr. type of aura about him. He was the Dark Destroyer, And then, also remembering what he did. I think this was later on, but what he ended up doing to Gerald McCullough, which was unfortunate. But he just was always a dirty fighter. Yeah. Nigel Benn was just always a dirty fighter. So I just couldn't see him not being the heel, no matter what. But, maybe I guess he was.
Nah, I get it. Well, over here in the U.S., man, we wasn't really, checking for like British, like maybe a British fighter may come over here and fight one of our guys, but we wasn't really checking for British fights. And we really don't understand. Like I had to go back really and research what the whole rivalry was really about and how that whole thing played out, and be on the lookout for a video that I'm about to be putting out the week of the fight between the Junior Eubank and Conor Ben, just highlighting the rivalry between the two fathers. But anyway, I had to go back and do some research to really find out what was the history between the two. And it was hilarious, man, to be absolutely honest. Like, Chris Eubank Sr. is a character. And I think that because he was looked at as the weird guy, the oddball, kind of, the stuck up kind of person, and he wasn't really liked like that in the media either. There was a lot of headlines about him. Oh, he's a madman, he's crazy. Your man came out with a monocle, man, like the planet's peanut guy. You know what I'm saying? He would walk around with the monocle on, with a cane, and all of that. He leaned into the role of being the heel. But nonetheless, the rivalry was it was great. When I just going back, like I remember the second fight. I wasn't really too hip to the first fight and how that all played out. I do remember the second fight between the two. But the first fight, just going into it, Chris Eubank was, he was looking for a title shot. Nigel Benn being the champion at the time. I think he had the WBA, if I'm not mistaken, or WBO. No, WBA had to been a WBA, if I'm not mistaken. Had a WBA strap. It was WBA, right? Yeah, so he had a WBA strap. And plus they was on different sides of the promotional, spectrum. Chris Eubank being a part of Matchroom, which ironically his son hates.
That's Frank. He was with Frank Warren. Chris Eubank was with Frank Warren, wasn't he? Eubanks was with Frank Warren, if I'm not mistaken. I remember him. Everybody used to be with Frank Warren.
No, he was with. He wasn't with. He was. Nigel Benn was with Frank Warren. Then he left Frank Warren for a brother. I forgot the brother's name. For a brother that was ended up managing and promoting him. He left Frank Warren. Chris Eubank was with Matchroom. He was with Barry Hearn. Yeah, because Barry Hearn helped like build him up. He came to Barry Hearn. Like, the story is hilarious. I've seen a lot of interviews. It was definitely Matchroom that Chris Eubank was with. And like I said, ironically, the irony of the whole thing is that Chris Eubank Jr. can't stand Eddie Hearn. Like, he literally despises the man. The interviews are just hilarious when them two was in the same room. It was actually hilarious to watch. But this fight, again, now dealing with the sons, you got the egg slap, you got the rivalry between your fathers, and there's a lot of similarities between how the build up to the first Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn fight played out, and how this fight, like, is the build up to this fight, how it's playing out. Everything from the interviews, it's like like you said, it's like they read from the same playbook, like they read from the same script, even down to the part where they going on British television and getting interviewed together. And if you remember the interview with Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn, they signed their contracts on live television. And the reporter, the guy, the interviewer asked him, like, well, do you hate this man? And Chris Eubank's response was like, I don't hate him. I just want his title. I'm gonna outbox him and show him I'm a superior fighter, right? But Nigel Benn is like, I hate him. I absolutely hate him, right? And it played out the exactly same way between Conor Ben and Chris Eubank Jr. when they got interviewed by Piers Morgan a few months back. It's hilarious. I didn't get a chance to pull up the clips. I really wanted to pull up the clips so we could see just how eerie similar this rivalry is starting to play out closely to how the father's rivalry played out.
There was the WBO. They fought for the WBO, the fathers. Over there.
Even down to the fight posters.
That was a big fight, a big belt for them. That WBO back then. Europe was like the first place to really embrace that heavily. But go ahead.
Now, even down to the fight posters. Like, if you look at who's fooling who, you got Nigel Benn ice grilling Chris Eubank Sr. Sunday, the 18th of November, 1990. Yeah, for the WBO middleweight championship. And then you take that and look at this. Like, Same poster, just on opposite sides, same ice grill. It's like, I love it, man. I can't even lie. I love it. They got me. They got me, man. Whatever all the promotional, the antics, the interviews, the egg slap, the back and forth, I hate yous and this and that. I'm sold. I'm sold. They sold me this fight that I need to go and watch this fight. Like, how you like? Are you as hyped for this fight as I am? Like, please let me know.
I don't know if I'm as hyped as you are because I'm not really. I didn't like neither one of their fathers. I really could care less about either one of these fighters for the most part. Like, I don't really think either one of these fighters is special or going far. I think it's just a cute rivalry and all. I'm just being honest. Like, you know, so for that, it's hard to get excited. Like, I never liked Chris Eubank Senior at all. You know, I remember the first fight. You know, what was the first fight? 11th round knockout, I think. Chris Eubank. I know Richard Steele stopped the fight and
stopped the fight.
You know, after the round,
I forgot which round it was, but yeah,
I believe it was the 11th round or something, or something like that. Yeah, you know, but
it was a damn good fight though. It
was a good fight. You know, it was a good fight.
It was a good fight.
Definitely a good fight.
Man.
It was a good fight. You know, and you know they had the rematch. You know, which was the draw. You know what I mean? You know, they had the mixed scores and whatnot, but it was a good fight. You know, the second fight was a good fight.
Yeah, it was a draw.
Yeah, the second fight was a draw.
Not as good as the first, but yeah. Yeah, the second fight was a draw. First fight was probably better than the second fight. I'm gonna say this though. Now, how do the sons compare? We just look at the attributes of the fathers, right? Nigel-Benn, power. You know what I'm saying? Nigel-Benn had power. He was mean. You know what I mean? Like he was menacing. He came in there and he swarmed you. You know what I mean? His son fights with a similar style, but do he have the power? Now I know he got some knockouts. He got a lot of knockouts, but you know, let's keep it real, man. He's fighting some blokes, you know, from England, and he's not really knocking out like top competition. But nonetheless, a knockout is a knockout. But the thing is, his father had legit power, both hands, had really good feet, could slip when he needed to, but he came in like he'll take a shot to deliver a shot. Chris Eubank Sr., good boxer. I think he had really good feet, good jab, and he had a chin made of absolute granite. Like, the man can take a shot. You know, I remember he fought a young Joe Calzaghe and got put on his backside, but still got up
Chris Eubank.
You know,
that was on the full Monty.
Yeah,
I remember that card. That was on the card, the full Monty. Prince Nassim fought Padilla on that card. That was a pretty good card right there. He fought Jose Padilla on that card and to set up the fight with Kevin Kelly. Yeah, it was a good card.
I mean, Chris Eubank Jr., I think he's been stopped once. I think it was Callum Smith, if I'm not mistaken, that stopped him. But it was like, I think it was a ref stoppage. It wasn't like he didn't put him out. That's from what I remember. He didn't like put him out. So, but what I do remember that his father had a chin made of granite.
He lost to George Groves. Yeah, he lost to George.
I'm talking about the fight he got stopped. The fight he got stopped.
The fight that
this
he
fight,
got
this
stopped
fight that Chris Eubank, the fight Chris Eubank Jr. got stopped in. You looking at junior or senior?
You talking about? Oh, you know what? Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. He got about 3 losses on his record.
Yeah, but how many times he been stopped? How many by knockout?
Nah, I just see a split decision, and actually, I just see a split decision and a unanimous. Oh yeah. Liam Smith knocked him out.
Liam Smith. See, I knew it was one of the Smith brothers.
Yeah,
that's
Liam
why we the
Smith.
Parry over here. You know what I'm saying?
Liam Smith knocked him out. So yeah, he's got 3 losses. George Groves to me might be one of the more notable names on his resume as far as the people who beat him. He has a win over Arthur Abraham, but I mean, that was, what was left of Arthur Abraham, in my opinion. He was able to avenge his loss and come back and knock, get a TKO victory over Liam Smith in his immediate rematch. And I do remember that stoppage was kind of suspect. It was a premature, if I'm not mistaken. That was a premature stoppage. So, he resume-wise, neither one of them have too much of a stellar resume. We know Conor is actually undefeated at 23-0. I don't really, looking at his resume is not too many. He got Chris Algieri. He got, the usual suspects, but he doesn't really have a strong resume either. He's over there fighting tuna fish over there and on the other side of the pond. He hasn't really.
Well, I think Chris Eubank like probably the biggest, like I said, the biggest names on his resume.
Both of them are the biggest names.
The biggest names on Chris Eubank resume.
And in all honesty, it is just that though, and this is why I'm not probably nearly as excited for you as you are in this fight, I should say, because I mean, these guys are probably the biggest names that they're fighting each other, and it's just that. It's just names. Like these aren't proven.
Well, it's just, I think it's just because of their dads.
Indeed, this fight has this is like Layla Ali and Jackie Frazier live. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be honest, man.
Nah, I feel you. But yo, I mean, if there's one victory I could give him maybe a little bit of credit for is beating James DeGale. You know what I mean? He beat James DeGale. He fought what's my man name? Billy Joe Saunders. He lost to Billy Joe Saunders. He lost to George Groves. And yeah, Liam Smith. Which he came back and beat him. But yeah, like I guess I mean, I guess you're right. They're probably the biggest names in each other's resume.
But it's just.
But with that being said,
and it's their father's names. They're really fighting off of their father's name. Like, let's just be honest. And for me, it's hard to get excited for two fighters who haven't proved like this. This could have been celebrity boxing. This could have been on the undercard of. This could have been on the card when Willis fought Screech. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that, or Willis fought Vanilla Ice, or something like that. This fight belonged on the Tyson.
Willis fought Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, not Vanilla Ice out. Yeah, I mean, but
all right, let's be real.
This was worthy of the Tyson Jake Paul. This should have been on the Tyson Jake Paul undercard, man.
Hold on, this is actually one of the biggest fights in British boxing history, man. This is rivaling their fathers.
Yeah,
this might be bigger given the time. No, for real.
Brits and no disrespect to Brits, because Brits actually like they hold their fighters down. Like their fighters be legends over there. Frank Bruno was a legend. You know what I'm saying? In England, but over here, Frank Bruno. You know what I'm saying? So the way the affinity they feel for their fighters, you know what I mean? The affinity they feel for their fighters is just, it's different. The Prince Nassim Hamed, before he even came to New York and fought Kevin Kelly, was already the richest featherweight in history up until that point. And the biggest fighter he had probably fought at that time was Tom Boom Boom Johnson.
Michael Watson. That's the name I was looking for. Like, see, Michael Watson was a big name over there. Like, they love their fighters. They love boxing over there, bro. I would say they're
only
in the UK, particularly in
you know what I mean? Only Watson I know Sam Watson.
Britain, they're a hardcore boxing fan, bro. Like,
this
and mind you, they're it's fight. Yeah, they're hardcores over there, and they're fighters over there that's selling out arenas and
Arenas.
stadiums that
Arenas.
probably,
this is how Joe Kawasaki was. What was he? 49-0 or some crazy shit. 50-0 or something. Fighting all bums. Being fighting all blokes. Straight blokes.
all blokes.
Blokes, straight blokes. You know what I'm saying?
Blokes. No disrespect. Shout out to the UK, man. Let's keep it real. Shout out to
Fighting all chums. You know what I mean? Yeah, shout out to the UK, but they fighters don't you know what I mean? They don't compare. You know what I mean? They don't compare. They got the most China chin heavyweights ever, yo. Even Lennox Lewis and all his greatness fought like a brick. Like you didn't. Damn, I'm hitting him. Fought like a brick. You know what I'm saying? Like he had no killer instinct. Looked like he'd rather be sipping tea and playing chess. You know what I'm saying? With the style that he fought, and he had that whack-ass European style he used to fight with. You know what I mean? So Manny Stewart got a hold of him and was like, nah, bro, you need to tuck that chin a little bit, lift to bring that left hand back a little bit.
I mean, listen, man, we not. I'm not going down the road you walking down, man. I'm not doing it right now. I'm not doing it.
We don't pull a duck, no punches. Remember that.
Oh, damn. You had to pull out. You had to pull out the. You know, you had to pull out the tagline, huh?
It's whatever.
All
I gotta keep it real for whoever, yo. I'm like Marlo, man. I step to whoever, man. Mexicans, Britons, whoever, yo. You know what I'm saying? Whoever, man. It's whatever, yo. I'm telling it like it is.
To be one way, Jay.
Yeah, man. It's the other way.
They just want it to be one way. It's the other way.
But it's the other way, yo.
But it's the other way, for real. Nah, but all right. But back to Chris Eubank Jr. though. When I think he was either he was signed to Mayweather or he was working out the gym. I don't really remember, but he looked impressive. Like he was throwing these uppercuts that was had dudes looking, you know what I mean? Had him drowsy. So I was impressed with him when I first saw him. But I did know he had to step up in competition, and he never really quite reached the level that I thought he was going to reach. I think when I stopped believing in him is when he fought Billy Joe Saunders. When he fought Billy Joe Saunders, I was like, okay, he might not be who I thought he was.
You talking about
Billy Joe
Eubank Jr.?
Saunders, and this ain't no Eubank Jr.
Right?
Because he impressed me when I first saw him, man. He was throwing uppercuts with some viciousness. Right, he still be throwing them uppies, but he was sleeping dudes, man. And I think, like I said, I don't think he was signed to Mayweather's promotions, but he used to work out of Mayweather's gym.
Yeah, he did. I don't know. He wasn't signed.
And then he kind of just right. Then he just fell off the map. But now he's back, and this is the fight.
He actually impressed me though.
I'm hyped for it.
What was the fight? I think it was it Algeria? Because I actually picked Algeria, I believe. So I think in that fight right there, I think me and you were talking about that fight before, and I picked Algeria, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it you talking about Conor-Ben? Was it Conor-Ben that fought Algeria? It was Conor-Ben that fought Algeria.
Nah, we talking about
Eubank never fought. They're in two different weight classes.
No, you're right. I forgot who it was.
Yeah, Conor-Ben fought. When he fought Billy Joe Saunders, I picked him to beat Billy Joe, and boy was I wrong. I thought he would beat Billy. Well, I wasn't really no fan of Billy Joe Saunders. I couldn't stand that boy. I couldn't stand homeboy. You know what I mean? But I used to think Eubank was going to be something, man. I think he might have won some kind of minor title, no real official, John. But Conor-Ben, though. Let's get to Conor-Ben. Let's talk more, but let's talk something about Conor-Ben. Some of his sparring. First of all, the kid he's built like it looked like somebody carved him out of marble, man. That kid is.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The boy cut up like a cheesesteak, man. I ain't gonna hold you. The boy, he ripped to the gods. I ain't gonna lie. I said, damn, this.
Yeah, seriously. Shredded. They leaked some sparring footage, of course. You know when they say they leaked it, his team really put it out so they could see what he looking like. Let's take a look at what he looked like in his sparring. Now, this is his sparring partner. I don't know who this is. He looked pretty big though. Pause. Like he looked like he might be a middleweight, super middleweight, maybe even a light heavyweight. Like he looks pretty hefty out there. And this is what Conor Ben was doing to his sparring partners. Hold on. What are you doing to that boy? Oh, nice pull counter.
Look like his dad in there.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. Look how he's slipping, getting out the way of the punches. Being mindful defensively still.
Look, you can take a punch though. You don't look hard to hit.
That's true. Oh,
man, this spawn partner cheap, man. I'm gonna call it like I'm seeing it. This spawn partner.
Hold on, wait, Jay, wait. Oh,
they found him on his somewhere, yo.
Uppercut. Hit him with the uppie.
They found him at the YMCA somewhere, yo.
Oh, it shows, mate. I'm done, mate.
Yeah, that was definitely leakage from the camp because they found that spawn partner straight in the YMCA. Like, yo, you feel like getting the check real quick? I got $50 for you, yo. Come on, you know what I mean? Like, come on, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. Oh man.
I mean, look, I don't know who the sparring partner is, man.
He caught him with like 2 good straight right hands, right? He caught him with 2 good straight right hands and then stopped throwing punches, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. From Wales.
I thought,
man.
He said, I saw that overhead coming from Wales.
Man, from Wales. Yeah, man.
But he listen.
English,
he had a nice
muffin, yo. That sparring partner was an English muffin.
He had a nice pull counter. I mean, I'm just looking at how he looked, the attributes that I'm seeing. The hand speed look official.
Yeah, he was a bum.
His hand speed
like
look
using
official.
that word here, but he was a bum.
He hit him with a nice pull counter. You know what I'm saying? Body shots. You know what I mean?
You're gonna make this an exciting fight. Oh, but Marty gonna make this.
I'm selling it. I'm
selling it. Make sure this fight is pay-per-view worthy. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell him to sit there all your
I'm make sure y'all watch it.
For real.
Yo, I need everybody to be as hype as me for this fight, man. I need everybody to be as hype as me, man. I'm selling this fight, man. I want them watching this one, man.
Nah, you definitely is, man. You got me a little bit more excited than I was. I'm not gonna lie. I had to really think about. I actually had to think about who was fighting for a minute. So I realized because I started getting hyped, and I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, man. I'm over here listening to Bomati, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to Conor, shout out to the juniors.
Shout out to Eubank-Benn, man. I'm helping y'all sell a fight over here, man. You know what I'm saying?
He definitely is, man. He definitely should
Word
be
up,
part of the
man.
promotion team right now.
Like, I don't know who's gonna win, but I'm watching the fight. Actually, I know who I'm picking. I know who I'm picking, though. I'm gonna
tell you right now.
But I'm gonna let you go first.
All right.
Huh? Yeah.
I'm gonna say between 6 and 8. Conor Ben ass is getting knocked out. I'm telling you that right now. Chris Eubank is actually gonna knock Conor Ben out. Yeah, man. See how you see how Conor Ben got hit with that right hand? That was effortlessly. Yeah, I mean. Yeah.
They need to break me off a check, yo.
They do need to break you off, yo.
Oh man, yo, I'm dying. Yo. So you saying what? He getting stopped? What? We say he getting stopped at? What round?
Conor is getting put. I'm saying Conor getting put in like anywhere between the 6th and the 8th. Maybe the 9th. But Conor is getting put. He getting put down.
I think history repeats itself. and the Eubanks stops the bend. I do believe that. I just think, and it's not because of like I view Chris Eubank as this superior fighter over Conor Ben, because I actually enjoy watching Conor Ben fights more than I enjoy watching Chris Eubank at this point.
Because he's reckless.
I think Conor Ben, as far as that,
he has a more
yeah, he's ferocious, bro.
His father was the better boxer, right? I'm talking about Chris Eubank Sr. was the better boxer than Nigel Benn.
Absolutely.
Nigel Benn was vicious.
Absolutely.
Dirty, vicious, brutal.
Was vicious.
You know, he bad news Brown.
Yeah, he was a big brute.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, with that said, you know what I mean? We looking at similar. I just don't think that. I think that Conor Ben has some of the same power. He definitely has the same stature. I don't think he has the same grit. And honestly, I don't put a lot into his father's grit. If you understand what I mean. His father wasn't the sturdiest, toughest. His father was bad and brutal, but he wasn't the toughest. You know what I mean? And we seen it in the Chris Eubank fight, because let's be honest, getting knocked out by Chris Eubank Sr. was a B+ fighter.
Yeah, at best. At best.
At best.
I would just say a straight
best.
B. I don't know about a B+. Yeah. Yeah, maybe even a B- if I'm being real.
I'm gonna say B+.
Maybe even a B-. But he was good.
Because even when he fought Joe Calzaghe, he gave Calzaghe a fight. You know what I'm saying? And that was part of Calzaghe early come up, you know, between that and I think it was the fight with Byron Mitchell. You know, those was the fights with Cal that made Calzaghe, and the Byron Mitchell fight was some BS. That stoppage was Fugaga. That was a European stoppage. That stoppage was Fugaga. But
you said European stoppage.
That was European stoppage, man. You know, Calzaghe didn't come over here and fight. I don't think he ever came over here and fought. When he fought Bernard Hopkins, was that in Las Vegas? Was that in Las Vegas? I like to erase that fight out of my memory, but it did happen though. But was that in Las Vegas?
When he fought
Bernard Hopkins with the famous,
I could tell you.
Never let a white person.
Tell you right now.
Never lose to a white boy.
I never lose to a white boy, man. Every time my brother say that, man. Every time my brother say that. That was fought in Las Vegas. Yeah, the Bernard Hopkins Calzaghe fight.
When he said it, I knew he was going to lose. You know what I mean? When he said it, I knew it, but yeah.
I mean, let's be real though. Like, if your man Calzaghe, his run was from Jeff Lacey on, right? Where you could everybody before Jeff Lacey was like,
no. His run was before Jeff
Byron Mitchell.
Byron Mitchell, yes,
I know.
Jeff Lacey was the end of his run. Jeff Lacey, because if you remember, people was calling the Jeff Lacey fight for about 2 good years, and then when they finally happened, everybody was shocked by how he literally slapped Jeff Lacey up for 12 rounds straight. I mean, that wasn't even a mugging right there. That was child abuse. You know what I'm saying? Like that was put your hand on someone else's child.
What I'm saying is he ain't really fight nobody of any name or stature before Jeff Lacey. Like after Jeff Lacey, he had Mikkel Kessler. No, excuse me. He had Saki Obika, Peter Manfredo. Then he fought Mikkel Kessler. Okay. Then he fought Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. And that was the end of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he ain't. His run was like you said. His run was.
But it was.
Listen, shout out to Calzaghe. I didn't think.
I'm not a fan of
either.
I mean, he had a run.
I was always thought he was overhyped.
He wasn't. All right. He was at 168 pounds at that particular time. There wasn't really between 168 and 175. There wasn't a whole lot of competition at that particular time. You have fighters like, oh man, I'm seeing them right now. But I remember Byron Mitchell. The Bayer, Marcus Bayer. I think fighters like Danny Green and Australian. It was just it wasn't a hefty, talented division at the time, and there was a lot of fighters from different parts of the globe who were not coming to other countries. They weren't leaving their home space to fight at that particular. You had fighters like Sven Wolfgang. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is who ran the 168-pound division, and none of the fighters wanted to even fight each other back then. So we wasn't getting the good fights with them. But in all fairness, though, it was a weak division. But Calzaghe got wins on Hopkins and Roy Jones.
To be honest, like I was a huge Roy Jones Jr. fan, and that loss bothered me. But when he beat Bernard, because when Bernard said, "I never let a white boy beat me," you know what I mean? Yo, he said that with his chest out. Yo, I was like, yeah. And I thought he could have won the fight. I just thought he wouldn't let his hands go. He didn't let his hands go.
Once you make a statement like that, you got to knock the white boy out twice. Now you got to knock this white boy out twice to get the win.
Yeah. That's why that loss hurt me. That loss hurt me, man. I was just like, I didn't think it was any. I didn't think Calzaghe had a chance in hell to beat Bernard Hopkins, and I think Bernard beat himself that night because Bernard didn't let his hands go. Remember that fight like it was yesterday. Burnt a hole in my soul.
Like man. 49 years old, man. 48. You say didn't let his hands go.
He wasn't that old, man.
He was,
Bernard
man.
Wasn't that old when he fought him.
Lightweight. I mean, this was at junior heavy. What was that? Light heavyweight. This was at light heavyweight.
He dropped. Calzaghe got dropped in the first round of that fight, right?
Yeah, he got dropped.
Like, and I thought it was
in both of them fights.
I thought it was a wrap. I thought it was no way.
It should have been no way. Should have been no way.
Shout out to Joe Calzaghe. Shout out to the bloke. To the bloke.
Like that Italian Welshman. But go ahead.
Yo, let me just take a pause for the calls real quick. Just want to remind y'all to go ahead and jab that like button. Please uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. Please follow us on Instagram and on X at the Parry 101 and on TikTok at the.parry.101. Help us in the algorithm. Yeah, man. But I'm hyped for this fight. My pick, again, I think history repeats itself. You got Eubank that's going to stop Conor Ben. I don't know what round. I just think the guy's a little bit too. He's a natural 147-pounder moving up to fight a middleweight or even a super middleweight. I don't even know what weight they fighting at. It don't matter. I think he's moving up too high. Maybe he up. Maybe he's still on them steroid-filled eggs or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just looking forward to a good fight. I know the undercard is good. I don't even want to discuss the undercard. I'm kind of because we almost running out of time. But we do got some other boxing news. If there's anything else you want to say about this fight, we can move on to some other boxing news real quick.
Nah, there's nothing. I mean, it's a fight, and hopefully we get a Gaddy Ward type of fight. And what I mean by that is, the winner of the Gaddy Ward fight, you really didn't expect them to go do anything special after that fight. However, the entertainment value that we were able to get in that fight, especially for the boxing fans who love that type of brutality in a fight. Me, I'm more of I can appreciate the Mayweathers and the Shakurs a little bit more than a lot of these other guys and the Pernell Whitakers. But either way, a fight like this, you want that type of fight, though. You want a fight that's entertaining. You want knockdowns. You want blood. You want all of that. So, hopefully we see that. Hopefully we get to see some type of drama play out.
Well, now that you brought up Shakur, it's a perfect segue. Ring Magazine tweets. Ring Magazine 3 will take place on July 12th in New York City with Edgar Berlanga facing Hamza Shiraz in the WBC super middleweight title eliminator, and Shakur Stevenson defending his WBC lightweight title versus William Zepeda. You got Alberto Puello defending his WBC junior welterweight title against Subriel Matias, and you got David Morrell fighting the undefeated Imam Katayev on the undercard. Alberto Puello is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Remember, he just beat He beat Sandor Martin, and then before that, he beat Gary Antoine Russell, and now he's fighting Subriel Matias. That should be a good fight. But my thing is, why is Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz, who I like both fighters, I like Hamza Shiraz a lot, but why are they headlining over Shakur Stevenson in New York? Now I get it. Edgar Berlanga's from Brooklyn or whatever. Like I get that, but somebody dropped the ball on this one. How William Zepeda, Shakur Stevenson is not the main event of this card in New York?
Like, it's not a co-main
absolutely.
event.
I'm glad. It's a co-main. It's the co-main to Berlanga Shiraz. They're fighting in an elimination bout. And you got the title fight, the actual WBC champion, Shakur Stevenson is fighting as the co-main. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a dope card. This card is stacked. Like, I love this card. I like the Puello Matias fight. I like the Berlanga, what's the name? Damn, why I lost his name that quick. I like the Berlanga. That's my man. Let me have to pull this up real quick. Yeah, Berlanga Shiraz. I like that fight. But how long we been sitting here waiting on Shakur to come beat stuffing out of William Zepeda? How is that not the main event in New York? And I get what you're saying, Baba Sekou, about the Latino crowd, but William Zepeda, last time I checked, is a Latino. Like, how is that not the main event?
I don't. First of all, remember we got Shakur who's leaving, who's left Top Rank, and this is him leaving Top Rank. So, in my guess is, honestly, I don't know. I don't even want to give it an excuse. I do feel like it should be in New York. Man, New Jersey, like, come on, man. You right there across the bridge. This is a homecoming fight. You know what I'm saying? Of some sort. He might not have the following, and that
Eddie Hearn dropped the ball.
I see Sekou saying that, and maybe what we're saying, Eddie Hearn dropped the ball, but maybe there is something going on here. Maybe they're trying to expose him to a bigger audience, and they know that he isn't the biggest draw of this fight. Maybe they know something we don't. I feel like you feel, though. You know what I mean? It's a no-brainer, but I don't know what the numbers be.
When did Edgar Berlanga become a draw? And this is no shot at Edgar Berlanga, but the most notable thing he has done thus far in his career is not get knocked out and lose to Canelo. That's it. Like, when has he been a draw? He's always been an undercard fighter until he fought Canelo. Why isn't this is a goddamn travesty. Somebody get Eddie Hearn on the phone.
Well, I guess they're banking on him. I guess they're looking at, I don't know, maybe between the Alvarez fight and his last fight with Ortiz, Gonzalez Ortiz, they're looking at like Sekou said, maybe they're really banking on him filling some seats and putting his name, as the headliner. He's from Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans. This is in what is this? In Madison Square or Barclays? Is Madison Square?
I don't think they announced a venue yet, but it's going to be in New York. I don't know where, but he's from Brooklyn. Maybe it's at the Barclays. Maybe it's at the Garden. Who knows?
Traditionally, just in New York City, Puerto Ricans do great in New York City. I went and I seen Cotto fight when he fought Judah in New York City. Cotto was from Puerto Rico. Judah's from Brooklyn, and Cotto had more fans. Although Judah had a nice amount of fans, Cotto had way more fans in the building than than Zab Judah.
But they were both
Bernard
stars.
Hopkins, but no, they were both stars. But Cotto still he's from Puerto Rico though. He couldn't Zab Judah from Brooklyn. So I'm just saying, that Latino and that Puerto Rican specific factor. Felix Trinidad, when he fought Bernard Hopkins, we know Bernard is a much bigger star, but Bernard is coming from Philly. He right there in New York. It's the backyard. Trinidad, you might as well thought he was a New Yorker in that audience. And when he fought Pernell
he
Whitaker,
was a star.
Pernell Whitaker was a star. They fought in New York City. You know what I'm saying? That was you would have thought that was Puerto Rico, Trinidad's home when he fought Pernell Whitaker.
Hold on. I hear what you're saying, but listen to the fight.
I'm not even saying that he's not a star. I said Pernell Whitaker, Trinidad, right? Pernell Whitaker was a star also, though. He was also a star, and listen, Trinidad. I'm gonna acknowledge that he had a bigger star power at that moment. But Trinidad wasn't really a big star like that in American boxing until coming around the De La Hoya fight. You know what I'm saying? Until about that time. So prior to that, he wasn't really a big star. When he fought Troy Waters, he wasn't a big star like that. You know what I'm saying? But back to the point, the disparity, it was so uneven. It was so many Trinidad. You didn't know anybody like Pernell in that fight. I might have been the only person in there who at least felt bad for Pernell in that fight.
Hold on, but who was he fighting? Trinidad. Hold on. Trinidad, Cotto, right? These guys were. First of all, we know Puerto Rico. Right. What I'm saying is we know Puerto Rico that they love their boxing, they love their fighters. They got some of the all-time greats that come out of Puerto Rico. In New York, is a heavy population of people from Puerto Rico, right? Now my thing is
Puerto Rico, real quick. Say that again. Puerto Rico. Say that again.
Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico.
Go ahead. That's that Trinidad fan in you. Go ahead.
You know it. Listen. Trinidad was fighting, like you said, Pernell Whitaker. Cotto was fighting Zab Judah. On both sides of the equation, you had stars. We talking about Edgar Berlanga is fighting Hamza Shiraz. This is what I'm saying. It ain't like Berlanga's fighting Jamal or Jamel Charlo. He's fighting Hamza Shiraz. And this is no disrespect to Hamza Shiraz. I told you, I'm a big fan of his. I like the guy. But they don't know him over here like that. You got William Zepeda, Shakur Stevenson, bro. That's supposed to be the main event.
Whether it is or isn't, though, if I'm Stevenson, I'm still taking the fight. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's getting paid a nice amount for this fight. This is going to be a big fight for him. It's going to be in New York, and it's going to be a big audience. And I'm pretty sure that this fight is going to lead to a bigger and better purse somewhere down the line. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that this fight will lead to a bigger fight just into the next fight. So I still, even though I agree with you, I don't think
fight gonna be in Saudi Arabia, probably.
Most likely. And with speaking of which, we're talking Shakur news. Bob Arum had a message for Shakur. Recently. You pull this up. Yeah, Bob Arum, had a big message had a recent message for Shakur. Basically, they're trying to who's Bob Arum's fighter? What's the fighter he got right now that he's trying to? Oh man, where is it? See, I done lost it, man. But anyway, go ahead. I was trying to find this news article real quick, but I didn't fucked up.
Well, we almost running out of time. Actually, we are out of time. Just want to thank everybody.
We ain't talking about my girl, yo. We ain't talking about my girl, though.
Oh, go ahead. Sweet poison. Sweet poison.
What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, sweet. Go ahead. Talk about it. Because I didn't see the fight. I didn't see the fight. But go ahead. Talk about it, man. Yeah, I almost forgot. My fault. Yeah, sweet poison. Talk about old girl.
You talk about that fight, You talk about that real quick, though.
Some good guy.
Real
Yeah,
quick
go ahead.
before we talk
Floor's yours.
about that fight. Before we talk about that fight, they're on the undercard. On the undercard in New York, though, we got the Sabriel Mateas fight, who he's fighting David Morrell, and both of those fighters is coming off of losses. You know,
No, David Morrell, Sabriel Matias is not fighting each other.
Who's Sabriel fighting?
They're in two different weight classes.
Who's
Sabriel, but we were just talking about it. Sabriel Matias is fighting. Hold on. Sabriel Matias is fighting Alberto Puello. That's the dude who beat Gary Antoine Russell in his last fight. And he beat Gary Antoine Russell and Sandor Martin. He beat Sandor Martin in his last fight.
You know, Gary
Alberto Puello, look, he's on.
I expected him to win that fight. That fight was actually pretty close, but you know, it
was a close fight.
It was a close fight. Sabriel Matias was
Puello's a vet though, man. Crafty.
He was out there putting people in the hospital. So this is a good fight for both of them. We'll see if Sabriel could get back into his mix, because his name, you know, he was becoming one of those names. You know, he was one of them sleepers, you know, that everybody was starting to avoid in the 140-pound division. And you know, after the loss,
another Puerto Rican fighter.
After the loss to Parry, it was just like, yo, you know, it kind of, because he was one of those powerful fighters that it's like, all right, well, can he really box though? Is he really that good? You know, he bounced back with a couple of good victories, so we'll see. That's one of the fights though I'm looking forward to. His last fight, I believe, was against Valenzuela, so that's a fight I look forward to right there. That fight on the undercard. But my girl. Gabriela Fundora, yo, that her fight was something else. For if you missed it, you know, she went out there and beat the brakes off this girl. I mean, I don't think there was a second of this fight that this girl won. What was her name? The Mexican girl, Marilyn. You know what I mean? She was good. She was definitely good. Undefeated. Never fought outside of Mexico though, so that right there kind of let me know that she never fought real competition. You know, when you're inside of Mexico, you know, you gotta, you know, basically bar fights and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was. I mean, it was. It was a good fight. Yeah, it's basically, you know, he basically over there in Mexico fighting inside of bars and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Club fights, as we would call them over here. You know, he fighting in saloons. You know, but I do look forward to seeing more of her. I like her much better than her brother. You know what I'm saying? Much better than her brother. She has that lanky, she was hitting her with uppercuts, with hooks, dropped her with a vicious hook. The next thing you know, the girl got up. I think it was like the 9th round. Old girl got up, like, nah, I'm good. I don't want no more of this. Like, I don't want no more of this, man. My ribs is hurting. My face is hurting. Just everything is hurting. You know, so, and the girl she fought was legit. Like, the girl had never been dropped before. Badia, that was her name. The girl Badio. The girl she fought, never been beaten, never been dropped. And I swear she made her look like an amateur. So I look forward to her. I look forward to her, you know, and seeing what she's gonna do. And I believe they fought like the 112, something like that, 110. I don't even know. It's one of them light, you know, one of them light divisions. But with the women's, it's different. But she's one of the women fighters that got me excited watching women boxing. I don't watch women boxing like that at all. But she's one of the fighters that, yo, when I know she's fighting, I want to watch her fight because I like watching her fight. She whoops ass, you know. And last, before we close, I guess you had two. We seen Kell Brook. Kell Brook said that, you know, he's interested in possibly returning against the winner of the Eubank Jr. and Conor-Benn fight, you know, which would be interesting because he hasn't fought in years. But it's been about 3 years since his last fight, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. and he said he's interested in a comeback against the winner of that fight, which I think would be a great comeback fight for him. I think he can actually probably beat both of those guys. So I think that might be, even though he's past his prime and everything, I think that if he gets in shape, he might have enough to be able to beat either one of them guys. And also we have who's actually coming back is Chavez Jr., who will be returning in the ring on June 28th. He'll be fighting Jake.
Why?
Paul. It's money. It's money. It's money.
On my bone day too, they pulling off this bull.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is just another fight for Jake Paul, or for another setup for Jake Paul, or if Chavez Jr. is serious. And then I don't even know if Chavez at his best could actually even beat Jake Paul. Chavez to me Jr. was just a name. So he showed some grit in his fight against Sergio Mora, but that was about it. But not Sergio Mora, Sergio Martinez. You can boo all you want, man. You know what I mean?
That wasn't for you, man. That wasn't for you. That was for that fight, man. Nobody watching that.
Okay.
Boo that fight. That wasn't for you, man.
Yeah.
That wasn't for you, man. But I ain't gonna lie. My thought initially when you said Chavez Jr., Jake Paul, man, my initial thought was,
yeah.
What up? Did it play?
I heard it.
What the fuck?
I heard it. It's a money grab, though. It's a money grab, man. Boxing's full of money grabs.
Oh, we also gotta talk about
money grab.
We got Ben. I mean, we got to put some respect on his name. We did put out a short where we call your man Ben Whitaker. Ben Whitaker stopped Liam Cameron in the second round of their fight after faking an injury. You still fake the injury, man, but I give you your props for come back and stopping homeboy and making it look easy. Yeah, that's it, man. Time to raise up out of here, man. Any parting words before we get up out of here? Che, what else you got for me, man? That's it. What we talking about?
Nah, that's it, man. We talked boxing. It was a great show. You know what I mean? I actually said cool. You supposed to actually have him on the show. I don't even know why we didn't. He should have been on here with us.
Yeah, we should have.
But
absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it was a great show, and I do look forward to the fight because of the grudge, and I'm just hoping it's a good fight. I mean, I'm hoping it's not a dud. I'm just hoping this fight isn't a dud. Because you sold this fight to me. I'm interested because of you now. You made me want to see this fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they need to put me on the payroll, man. Some of these promotional companies, man. Yeah. This is the Parry where we don't pull or duck no punches, and the Parry is fundamental to boxing. Please remember to jab that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, lead hook that share button, and throw a combination at the notification bell so you can stay updated when we drop new content. And I'm your host, Bomani UFG.
And I am the pragmatic.
And he's the pragmatic.
Black. And I'm the pragmatic Che Black.
This is the Parry.
We don't pull
and this is the Parry where we don't pull and duck no punches. And the Parry is fundamental to boxing. We out of here, y'all. Until next time, we're gone. Peace.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.